Why must we be in that role?
Because we are the greatest country in the world. And if I have the choice between
Well, maybe something's got to change. We're always footing the bill.
Yeah, but Neil, what change? Every other
not
country.
I just wonder, like, if
Look, I understand your
that's
point.
produced what we've got.
I understand your point. We've got a lot of debt. We spend a lot of money. You'd like to get a return on our investment, but the greatest threat to our children is not an extra $1 billion or even $1 trillion in debt. When you compare that to, now there's other ways you can make that up, but when you compare that to the threat of war and global instability, and I'm just a firm believer in American exceptionalism, that we are the strongest nation in the world and we have to maintain that position. And even if we have to figure out our economy a little bit more and do different things to pay for those bills, even though they might be, they might shortchange us or shortcheat us, I'll make that trade every time.
Who won?
I think Hillary won. I think Donald, I think it was tie after the first quarter. The second quarter, Donald may have taken the lead. Probably went into halftime, Hillary a little bit up, but in the third quarter and fourth quarter, Hillary ran away with it.
Now we have a second debate coming up. There'll be a third. If you had to advise either candidate, what would you tell them?
I'd say to Donald, you have to maintain your composure. You have to own your... It was just so easy to set him up, because if you contradicted him, whether, what he said about the war in Iraq, his bills, his taxes, he won't own the issues. The birther issue, he has to just own it and move forward.
How would he have owned it? What would he have done?
The birther issues. I was wrong. I was wrong. I should have conceded earlier that he was born in the United States, because it created too much of a diversion, again, from me making America great again. It was way too much energy. I was wrong. If he would ever just say the words, "I'm wrong," the perception of him would change dramatically. And you might say, okay, maybe he's presidential, but he can't do that. And because he can't do that, it's easy just to throw, he just throws softball after softball back to Secretary Clinton, because he won't ever own his mistakes. And you talk about business. If you truly are going to be successful long-term in business, you have to own and learn from your mistakes. And I think there's ongoing evidence that Donald Trump is not.
All right, now, there's a lot of sense here that the polls were tightening.
Yes.
And in a lot of battleground states, they're really tightening, about reversing in Donald Trump's favor. Did tonight change that?
We'll find out. I mean,
yeah.
I think if you were truly a Donald Trump fan, like I said before, you're probably still a Donald Trump fan. But I think if you were on the fence, you'd probably be leaning to Secretary Clinton. And I think probably where the debate had the greatest impact is pulling away from the second and third, the secondary candidates. Gary
but
Johnson.
The supporters of Hillary Clinton, are they passionate enough that tonight she won their passion back? Because the feeling seemed to be they just weren't jazzed as they were, let's say, with Bernie Sanders.
So it's like anything else, right? Donald taps into a lot of hate for the way things are going on. And I'm not saying he's hateful, but there's people, no, seriously, there's people who are just don't feel good about where we are and what their position is in life in this country. And I think if you're in that situation, you're going to be more passionate about change. Whereas if things, if your life isn't as bad and you're not struggling or whatever, or you don't feel the... I just think Hillary Clinton supporters right now, I don't expect as much passion as you would see for Donald, but I think that will change, and I think this election helped change that.
I talked to a lot of her supporters, though, Mark, who are shocked that they're in the battle they are with him.
And I can understand that.
And I don't know whether a debate changes it, but that they cannot fathom to that old, Hillary Clinton's speech before union leaders where she was yelling, "I can't believe I'm not 50 points up."
Right.
Now, do you share that, like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense?
Yes,
is it a weakness on her part? Is it a strength on his part?
I think it's neither. Look, I've been broke, right? I've been 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment, eating mustard and ketchup sandwiches, seriously, like into my 20s. And in those circumstances, I would have been angry and looked for change. And so I can see where a lot of his supporters are coming from. And if you don't really understand that perspective, you might think you should be 50 points ahead. But I think as things go on, Donald today did not release any new material, right? And I think that's going to hurt him. And I think she showed a real in-depth command of the issues. Lester Holt asked questions, she answered them. He came up with counter punches. She responded and actually set him up. And he
I don't know if she answered all the questions, though. I think
what do you think she didn't answer?
How could you equivocate, let's say, on his tax returns and then her emails or her?
No, but that wasn't in a response to the question.
No, I understand.
Right.
But when he would query her, let's say Donald Trump, not Lester Holt, on what about those? What about that? How are you comparing
it's not her job.
the two?
It's not her job to answer his questions. It's her job.
I understand that, but the fact that the moderator didn't even bother.
Well, think about what I said earlier. You have to own your mistakes. He has never done that. He didn't show that even the least bit today. She did.